Okay. Good evening to everyone. So I think, yeah. Good evening and welcome to the Lamstan CPD session, Career Opportunities in Education. So, Lampstand is an organization of young people who share the same passion for assisting their fellow students and professionals from different parts of the world. Students of different grades are offered assistance to pursue their dreams in life. Various students, due to incompetent facilities or opportunities in their own native area, find it necessity to moving to other cities to pursue their studies and dreams. Pursuing students for hunting jobs in other cities create a whole new can of worms. In their crusade, students often got trapped into dilemmas such as which course study, will engineering do the best for them? Should they opt for commerce courses? And the list goes on. In all these chaos, many students end up studying in wrong colleges or schools, or leaving the idea altogether and returning back to their respective homes. At Lampstand, we connect students from remote areas to mentors and professionals at global level. So for today's session, we have Ms. Rigzen Wangmo. Actually, you can off screen. Right here. Okay. Okay. So for today's session, we would like to welcome Ms. Rigzen Wangmo. She is an educator. She is the first Tech for India Fellow from Ladakh. She worked with low-income government schools in Pune for almost 2 years. Her area of interest include strengthening primary education system, teachers training, and promoting value-based education. And she is the one founding members of Ladakh Literary Society. She is currently working as the academic head at Student Education and Cultural Movement of Ladakh, that is SECMOL. Today, she is here to share her experiences as a Tech for Indian Fellow and about the selection process. So, hope you all will take advantage of this session. And yes, I also want to mention that because of some technical issues, our session might end within 40 minutes. If it happens, I request all the participants to kindly rejoin the session using the same link and password. So firstly, we have an interactive session with our mentor, and after that, participants can ask questions. So let's start with our session. Ajay can start. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you so much for the introduction. And I'm really, really happy to join and talk to so many people over here. So, my name is Rigzen, and I have worked in an education sector for almost 4 years now. And currently, I'm heading academic department at SECMOL. And before that, I served as a Teach for India Fellow for 2 years in Pune, teaching in a low-income government school. So, I will be sharing mostly about my fellowship journey and about Teach for India. So I hope um,
Actually, you have muted yourself. Okay.
sorry, there's some technical glitch. So I'll quickly begin with my introduction. As she said, am I audible now?
Certainly, yes, yes.
Okay, cool. As she said, I have worked in Teach for India for 2 years, but before that, I did my schooling from Leh, and I then went to Delhi for my bachelor and master studies. I did my bachelor and masters from Delhi University. I did my zoology honors from there, and then I moved to education sector. I will not be talking much about my education backgrounds since it is unrelated to what I do now. But what I will be talking about is the journey that I started as an educator, basically from volunteering while I was in Delhi in college and till now. So I will share my screen and begin the session with a presentation. Could you please let me share the screen? I think you have disabled it. Angmole.
Yes, actually. The
Okay.
host is Carlos.
Mm, all right. Great. Okay. All right. I hope you can see. Please keep. There is some reaction corner on the chat, so please let me know if you can see the screen properly. Yeah.
Yes, actually.
Yeah. Is it visible? The screen.
Yes, yes, it's good.
All right, great. So I began my journey way before Teach for India. While I was studying in Delhi, while I was doing my graduation or master, I started working with lots of NGOs, volunteering with them to teach students who are living in a slums or who didn't have an access to sort of lots of um, um, educational activities that mostly people in Delhi or the high income schools would have. So I started working then, and so I'll begin with the, sorry, great. All right. So the thought that came to me, why should I work or why should I teach students while I was doing my master, which is extremely different from what I do now. I was doing my master in science. Um, the thought came to me once while I was going, and I thought that I saw lots of children who had their pen and pencil and those books in their hands, but they were just roaming around and had everything with them, but they didn't really have a place to sit and read and have, have conversation together in Delhi
Mm.
mostly. So I met this guy, and he worked with an NGO. He sort of go to teach those students over the weekend. I joined him, and then I realized that most of the children who are willing to study or who are willing to learn, they don't really have a proper platform for them to sort of um, learn, or they don't really have a sort of um, opportunity. So that's why I joined those slums, where I try to sort of teach whatever I can over the weekend, and it all started from there. um, so there is a number on your screen, I guess. I hope you can see it. 472 million, sorry, students. I'm extremely sorry. I'm getting a lot of notification as few people are waiting in the. Um, okay, great. All right, great. So 472 million people are is the number that we have in India. These are the number of kids that we have in India under the age of 18, right? And out of which 32 million children have never attended a school. So this number 32 million just strikes you hard, right? So that's why I believe that if each one of us starts teaching or start helping those children, then many of them can be back in the school. So with that thought, I started my journey as an educator, believing that each one of us, in a very subtle way, or just help children get back to the school. Um, then I started the journey, where I was teaching in a slum in Delhi for almost 3 years. Um, there, I sort of regained my confidence, started believing that definitely education can help children have a better life. So that's why I chose education. Um, all right. Teach for India happened. I will be very know much about Teach for India before I joined. I happened to stumble on their website where they had the application form open, and while I was working in lots of NGOs in Delhi, I happened to stumble on their website and I saw that the application was open, and I didn't know much about what Teach for India is, what they do, and I had no idea about Teach for India. So I started checking on their website, and it sort of resonates with what I want to do. That's why I went on to fill up the form, went on to sort of explore more with videos. So that's when I started writing my application form, by sheer chance, where I was not told about Teach for India by anyone. So I just stumbled on their application form and I started filling it up. And later on, when I got selected, I realized that was the best choice I've ever made in my life so far. And so I will be sharing today mostly about Teach for India and my journey in Teach for India. All right. Uh, Great. Okay. Okay. So Teach for India believes in the notion believes that day all children will attend an excellent education. So which means everyone, it is it is not just about kids from one section or about a gender, a particular gender. So it talks about the kids from all section, and regardless or irrespective of their background, it believes that one day all children can attend excellent education. So and it also believes in the mission is to build a movement of leaders to eliminate educational inequity. We know that since time immemorial, we have been arguing, or we have been talking a lot about how to sort of remove educational inequity, or how to bring about equity in education. So Teach for India aims to eliminate those eliminate education inequity in the country. So how would that happen? So the Teach for India has two parts or two theory of change. One major chunk is the fellowship program, which I will be talking in detail later. And the second one is alumni movement. So basically, whoever goes in Teach for India and comes out as a Teach for India fellow alumni, they plays an important role in building up the movement of leaders. So Teach for India has two theory of change. One is the fellowship program, and second is the alumni movement. And I will be talking today mostly about the fellowship program. So yeah. Mm, okay. So the fellowship program, um, if you are in Teach for India Fellowship, you will be placed in a government school or a low-income private schools as a full-time teachers for 2 years. And also the fellowship operates in only 7 cities in India so far. Those are Delhi, Bombay, Chennai, Bangalore, Ahmedabad, and Pune. And you have to, once you are enrolled as a fellow, you have to teach English, mathematics, science, and social studies across 1 to 10th grade. And you should have minimum of bachelor degree to be a fellow, to be a Teach for India fellow. So these are the basic sort of outline of the fellowship. Okay, so I'll come quickly to the selection process. If you're willing to sort of be a fellow, you have to go through a series of selection process. And the first process is application, or I'll go in detail later. So the first stage is application form, which has a bunch of questions that you have to answer. And then you have online test for an hour, and post that you will have a brief phone interview, after which if you have passed all the stages, then you will be called for the assessment center, which happens from morning to till evening. The first one is the application form. So the application form is the most crucial one, where you get an opportunity to tell why should they select you, or why do you uh, want to be a part of the movement, right? Uh, so you have to, in application form, basically you have to mention your achievements, or your previous experiences, or the leadership experiences if you have any, or the challenges you have faced, or how do you see yourself in an education sector, like after the fellowship or during fellowship. So all of this you have to mention in the application form. So this is basically you're introducing yourself and your mission and vision to an organization. um, that's about the fellowship application form, after which.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Thank you, Atule. Please give me the host. You can transfer me the host so that more participants could join.
Okay, just a second, huh? What do you want me to do?
Just transfer me the host. Right now, you are the host of this session, right?
Yes. Okay, how do I do that? And wait.
Uh, I think
Wait. Okay. I'm not able to see any option of that sort.
Just clicking on my name and then making me the host.
Okay, I have to click on your name. I'm extremely sorry, guys. I'm extremely bad with all of this. Do I have to click on your name and make host? Great.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so
Are
much.
we good?
You can-
Yeah?
Thank you.
All
Yes,
right.
yes. Thank you.
Sure. All right, guys. So where were we? We were talking about the application form. I have basically told what the application form consists of. It consists of everything that you have done and everything that you wish to do. You have to introduce or you have to tell everything in an application form. Post which you have an online test, which is an hour-long online test called AMCAT test, which basically focuses on two major things. One is your English language ability, and second one would be the situational judgment ability. So the test will comprise of lots of questions, series of questions. You have to answer that, and you have to submit that, and you have to submit that within 3 days or 72 hours after the submission of your application form. Then only your application will be considered completed. So that's about the online test. And post which what happens would be the phone interview that happens for almost 30 minutes. It's a 30 minutes conversation about the application form that you have filled. So that's going to be the phone interview. And if you have sort of cleared everything, application process, the test and the phone interview, then you will be called for an assessment center. That is a day-long sort of assessment activity, comprises of lots of activities, which includes 5 minutes lesson, teaching a lesson. You have a lesson for 5 minutes, and you have a group activity with other applicants, and then you will have problem solving activity. And if you crossed all of that, towards the end of the day you will be called for an hour long personal interview where you with one of the members of uh, so yeah, that would be the assessment center. So assessment center consists of lots of activities followed by an hour-long personal interview. So if you are done with all of this, if you have if you have sort of cleared the assessment center, all the activities in the assessment center, after 10 days, you will receive the acceptance, the letters, the offer letter, basically. So that's about the selection process. I can take up questions later on. I will go on to the fellowship now. Yeah. Okay. So then the journey begins. You will be placed in one of those 7 cities in India. I was placed in Pune. So my journey began in a school with 750 students, and with only 11 teachers. And I was given fourth standard class, which was the first year intervention. That means they never had a Teach for India fellow before me. And I started a journey with lots and lots of love, I would say, because this kids, the one you see on see on the screen, they encompasses uh, all the love that is in the world, because not just being a student, but they are also they would also just take care of you, because they kind of know that you are away from home. So it was a journey I started off or built with love with my students. The the fact that my students never had a teacher before me. They were looked after by lots of caretakers, but they never had a proper teacher. They accepted me wholeheartedly. So this is the journey, a journey of love that I began with Teach for India students, my students, fourth grader in a school called Shamrao Barate Government School. Okay. As I started my fellowship, it was not really easy. It was very difficult in terms of languages, in terms of culture, in terms of so many things. Because first thing, uh, I'm not a teacher before. Like I have never taught in a classroom before I joined Teach for India. Though there was a rigorous training session for 5 weeks, but um, you are always reluctant, or you're sort of apprehensive of how the kids will take receive you, or how the kids will take you, right? So there was a lots of confusion and lots of ambiguity in my, like I was sort of experiencing. But later on, what happens is the kids accepts you very very easily, very very, wholeheartedly, and you start the journey with lots and lots of efforts, collective efforts. So I built on to a level where the kids were like independent, and also they knew that even if I'm not there, they have to sort of take ownership and do things on their own. So I started with lots of love and lots of hope. Particularly this letter gives me a lot of hope, because the child who has written has never written a story, or particularly a poem. So after which, like after the Tishwandya intervention started, she started writing, and that's why I got this letter, and it just gives you a lot of hope. So yeah. And a lot of so the students are not really used to their their teacher being friendly to them, I would say, because they are mostly students are scared of their teachers,
Hello.
right? That's like
Hello.
sorry. Yes. Okay. Is somebody talking? All right. So so the students are never um, used to the teachers being friendly with them. So during which, they are always scared, or they're always reluctant to share things with you. But over the time, what happens is, when you open up to them, when you're honest with them, or when you are showing your true sides to them, they start opening up to you, and then they sort of become a friend to you. So that's how I like sort of moved my in my journey, from building that trust, and or building on the foundation of love to friendship. And these are the highlights of my fellowship, I would say. On the left side of your screen is Diksha. She is one of the most, I would say, hardworking in my class. While she was in fifth standard, she was preparing for an academy, which is a very renowned academy in Pune. And with her hard work, she got through, and she also published a poem in that academy, and she was sending me the pictures of the poem and telling me that she has used the skill that I've taught. So these are the things that I remember, and I sort of make it a point that um, that's why, like the reason why you have taught, or why you are still teaching, or what you are doing right now. And on the right side, Aryan has always been a very very naughty kid, or has always been this kid who would never listen to anyone. He would be in the principal like the room every other day for maybe like for for every small reasons. And I think after like towards the end of my fellowship, he became so aware of himself, because we had this bond, and then we started, like sort of bonding, and I started visiting his house a lot, because he had a very sort of disturbed family situation, and he would never sort of talk to anyone in the family. He didn't have a mother, and his father always works outside. And that's why he didn't really have people to look up to. And after towards the end of my fellowship, he started sort of writing stories, or he started sort of trying things, and he would always ask, how did I do it, how did I do today? So these were the things that I feel that little things really matter. um, and a lot of trust between between the students among themselves, and between you and the students. And I would like to play a small video. Please listen to it carefully. This is she is a sixth grader in Teach for India class, and I want to show how courage looks like when you give them, or when you give child an opportunity to express themselves.
Not audible.
Sorry, was the video not clear? I'm sorry, was the video not clear?
Audible miracle.
Yes.
Mirale.
No, ma'am.
All right, how should I do it then? Oh, wait. Is it all right now?
No, ma'am. I don't.
No.
You can share the link of that video so that
Okay.
everyone.
Cool. I'll just post it. Really sorry for this, but how do I do it? Okay. Copy link, and I can paste it somewhere, right? Okay, there should be a chat box. Okay, I have posted the link of the video, if you can see. Wait, is it there? Jigmeet, have you got the video of the?
No, actually, there's nothing.
Is it there?
No,
Sorry. Is the video opening?
there was no link.
Can you see the video? Sorry.
No.
Is it there?
Oh, I think. Yes, I delete it here. So
Could you please make it to everyone?
Yes, I can do that.
Sure. Or I can do it, maybe. All right.
Yeah, we got the link.
You got the link?
Yeah.
All right. Could you please, everybody, take 3 minutes to watch the video and come back?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, 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 yes.
Cool.
Okay.
3 minutes to watch the video and come back. Please let me know if you're done in the chat section. Please let me know if you're done. Thank you, Fayaz. All right. So yeah, this is what courage looks like to me. This is what I believe courage should be like, where sixth standard students, without fear, without with lots of commitment, talking about the country or about the nation in such powerful words. This is how I would see courage as, and that's when I believe that quality, how important quality education could be. With that, I will sort of wrap up my fellowship journey, and I will talk a little bit more about post fellowship. That means what I do now. And post fellowship, usually what happens is in Teach for India, you either get
Take it
placement
slow.
or you can choose to work independently.
I'm
I
in
chose to come
tuition.
back to I chose to come back to Ladakh and worked with SECMOL. And now it's been almost 2 years now, and I also work with teachers, government school teachers, to train them or to give them, especially with elementary teachers, to train them. and this one is from Shashukul, where we sort of trained almost 30 teachers, elementary teachers, and yeah, that's pretty much about me. So I believe that Ladakh could be a proof point for excellent education if we infuse talented teachers or committed teachers more than anything, committed teachers in the system. If we sort of work together, if all the stakeholders come together, it could definitely shine brighter than how it is now. So thank you so much for having me. If you have any question, I'll be happy to answer that. Thank you.
So participants can ask question or drop their question in the chat box. Thank you. If they have any. Yes, they can ask question in Ladakhi as well. So
Yeah, any language. I mean, Ladakhi, Hindi, English, anything should work. You can ask the questions. You can write the questions in the chat thing, or you can ask.
계속 줌 미팅이 치즈던데. 전이윈 소리.
Okay, someone has written, "What is your future goal?" Uh, um, I really want to, because in the fellowship I realized that how important primary education, or how strong it should be, how important it is to have a strong primary education system. So my goal is to sort of strengthen primary education system in Ladakh. Any other question?
Jule ache Rigzen. Thank you so much for sharing your journey. I have a question that what do you think that what are the main challenges the government schools are facing, especially in remote areas? Hello.
Actually, you have muted yourself again.
So sorry. So sorry. Okay. So if I talk about regions outside Ladakh, there is a dearth of teachers. That means a number of teacher per student that is extremely less. So that is a huge challenge in Pune. Like, but that is not the case in Ladakh, which I've seen. Like, I have visited few schools. That is not the case. But the enrollment in government schools are very less in Ladakh. That is not really a challenge, but that is something that we need to focus on, I guess, or to work on, to sort of improve government schools and get the enroll maximum, I guess. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, what strength do you have that help your teaching career? I think to begin any journey, or to to do anything, you need to have a firm determination of what you want to do, or you have to have a clarity of what you want to do. If you don't have that burning inside your heart, I think every career that you choose is not really, it's not going to be as good as you want it to be. So it's your commitment, I would say. Young question, you're the late. Okay. How one can build up reading habits? Um, yeah, I'll talk a little bit about Ladakh Literary Society that we have started a year back, thinking that Ladakh really needs a rigorous reading culture. So I think the reading habit I cannot talk really on, but I think that the culture that we build in, or the kind of aura, for example, a child from their childhood, if he or she sees their parents or their teacher reading, then that will definitely come to in the child. But it's not something that all of a sudden you hand over a book, or you give a book to a child and expect them to read. It never happens. So I think you should always have a aura, or build that aura yourself, to sort of inculcate that habit in the future generations. Any more questions? Okay, after 12, which college did you do? Okay, after 12, I joined Ramjas College in Delhi University. I did my BSc Zoology honors from there, and post that I did my master in Zoology honors from Delhi University itself.
Yeah, I have a one more question. Actually, since you are working in the SECMOL, so in which areas in which areas SECMOL is working to change the education system of Ladakh?
Okay. I think it is not just to change, but to reinforce few things, right? There are few things which are already present in Ladakh. It's just that we need to reinforce those, right? For example, the cultural richness, or the traditional, right? Um, ethos of culture, which is already there in Ladakh, but we're just trying to reinforce them and to make it very sound and profound, that the entire region sort of have that, right? We sort of focus a lot on not just tradition, but also the idea behind it, right? The bigger ideas. We try to work on a lot of on children who can think beyond their classroom, who can sort of have every single thing applicable in their lives. So SECMOL is basically working on life skills, I would say, not just like something that you it can be useful in the exam, but also something that you can apply in your real life. So the skill based education that we talk about is something that we focus a lot on, and also the traditional richness that we have, we try to reinforce those areas. Yeah.
Okay, so there's a question by Rigzen Wangmo. So she's asking that how to learn English speaking fluently at Chile.
Okay, how to learn English speaking fluently? I think I would say, like, for me, I would say it came from reading a lot of books, because I really like to read a lot of books. So it came from that, but I think it works differently with different people. People sometimes learn from watching a lot of movies with subtitles, or listening to a lot of audios. Few people also learn from listening to BBC new podcast. And so I think it depends on like how you learn the best. few people might not like to read books at all, right? So for them, I think it's important for them to sort of look for other areas to sort of get your any language proficiency. uh, how many books you read in a month or a year? um, okay, I read 50 books last year, but I'm on, I guess, 12 or 13 this year. So, okay, what kind of challenges you had faced while working with not YIF, it's Teach for India, yeah, but the challenges I have faced is, first one was a language barrier, because the students that I was teaching, they were super young. They were in 4th grade and they used to speak they speak Marathi, right? Their language is Marathi. And I wasn't really, like, I'm not really fluent in Hindi, so I would speak in Hindi or English, mostly English. So there was a huge language barrier, but we worked out with lots of gestures and hand movements and all of that. But language was definitely a barrier there. And second thing was, the fellowship is extremely rigorous. That means, it starts from 7 a.m. and sometimes it ends, in the evening, and then post that you have to attend lots of sessions by Teach for India and all of that. But so people who are not, I would say the people who are not really committed could find it very difficult. However, for me, it worked really well, because I really, really wanted to work and try to sort of see everything in, depth. So yeah, that was it. How is the main challenge in the selection process of Teach for India? How should one prepare? I would say that if you are willing to work in an education sector in a long run, if you are determined to do it, if you're not really like, okay, I'll go to Teach for India if nothing happens, then it sort of shakes your sort of, the entire thing. But then if you're committed, if you're true to your intentions, I think the selection process becomes very natural, I would say, because I did not prepare at all, but I did everything that I wanted to. I mean, I wrote everything that I wanted to do, and I'm still doing. So I think if you're committed to work in an education sector, if you're committed to sort of bring that change, then it becomes a little easier for you, because then you are just narrating your own story, right? There's nothing you have to sort of uh, just you can just do it, because then you have your own story. You don't have to build it again. So yeah, but for the assessment center, I would say you have to prepare 5 minutes lesson, where you have to teach and show a demo class and stuff like that. But if you haven't taught before, then you have to probably prepare for that. Yes. Do TFI provide accommodation facilities to its tutor? So so Teach for India comes with a little bit of stipend, a little bit of money, which can so you also have HRA, that is like housing allowance, wherever you are placed. That depends on that. The money depends on wherever you are placed. So they'll be giving you a money, and you have to look for the house. Yeah. How to keep concentrated study? I think try to make it see, if you like something, then automatically the concentration thing happens, I guess. If you do not like something, and if you're forcing yourself into that, that's when you should know that I need to maybe change the way I am doing it, or maybe change the thing that you are doing it. Yeah. Any more questions? Or which cities are included in Teach for India? Delhi, Mumbai, Pune, Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Chennai, 7 cities. I can also drop my number or email ID if you wish to prepare for, because the application process is open now, and if you wish to prepare for that, if you wish to fill up the form, I can personally help you with that. So I will be leaving my email ID somewhere here in the chat box, maybe. Yeah. I'll quickly write it. Okay, sorry, there's a typo. Okay, here you go. The second one is the correct one. You can drop me an email. You can ask me questions regarding the selection process in detail. I can help you with that. Any more questions that you want to ask? All right. So someone has written, as a girl, how difficult it is to manage to live far from home alone in those big cities. To be very honest, I never considered that as a challenge. I've always stayed out, as in since I've studied in JNV since 6th standard. So home, staying away from home wasn't that issue from like since very long. But to be very honest, it never came to me that, you know, being a girl or being should sort of have, because Pune is an extremely sort of, how do you say it, civilized city, I would say. And also even staying in Delhi, I was always in a hostel, and I don't think I have encountered any thing that made me feel that it was difficult. But yeah. Okay, as someone has written, how was your preparation during any exam? Um, haven't given like a big exam as such, but like for the normal one, I would say that I would try to understand the entire context, the content, and then whatever come may, you sort of try to weave your own story and write it at what you think it is. So mostly it's about your opinions and how you think it is. Any more questions? Okay, are we done, or do you have more questions?
Okay, I think there's no more. No, that was okay. So, has any other having any queries, they can ask them in the WhatsApp group. So we have put you in the WhatsApp group. So actually, we'll be there to answer the questions. So I think we should end the session. Thank you. That's all from our side. Hope you all will get some knowledge from this session. And yes, I would like to thank our mentor for taking out their precious time and helping us to know more about career opportunities in education. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Lei.